Hi everyone, here's some of us heading your way. Tonight's your news at 9.
In wake of the FBI warning about planned protests at all 50 state capitals, just how prepared are local agencies to protect us if something were to happen here? I'm Chris Warner with that answer.
The FBI warns of potential armed protests just days after rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol. I'm David Spunt in Washington. Details coming up.
Jacob Leonard has some sports for us tonight. Doug Heddy has weather as usual. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey, a former Webb City junior high teacher and coach, pleads guilty to third-degree child molestation. Nicholas Popejoy of Armour, Kansas, was originally charged with statutory sodomy for alleged sexual contact with a student back in 2019, but the charge was reduced through a plea deal. Popejoy will be sentenced on March 22nd. With nearly a week to go until Inauguration Day, law enforcement officials are stepping up their presence at state capitals nationwide. This comes, of course, as federal and local authorities continue their investigation into last week's riots at the U.S. Capitol. Fox News correspondent David Spunt has more.
National Guard troops are patrolling the nation's capital, with at least 10,000 expected to be in the area by Saturday. They'll have a heavy presence over the next week, leading up to President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. The increased security comes in response to last week's Capitol riots.
We are leveraging our relationships with federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, using our tools at our disposal to find and bring everyone involved in last week's criminal activity to justice.
And an internal FBI memo warns of possible armed protests in the coming days.
There were a lot of lessons learned from the January 6 mob violence at the Capitol, and one of those was the lack of numbers.
The FBI's warning extends from Washington, D.C. to all 50 state capitals. In Madison, Wisconsin, crews boarded up the Capitol building. Officials in California and Pennsylvania are also increasing security ahead of Inauguration Day.
You can be sure that they are not going to allow what happened in Washington on Wednesday to happen at their state capitals.
The Department of Homeland Security will treat next week's inauguration as a national special security event, similar to the State of the Union or Super Bowl. Authorities are implementing security measures now instead of next week in light of potential threats.
We plan for the worst and we hope for the best, and we want to encourage our state partners to do the same, and we're willing to provide help for them to do that.
Federal and local authorities say they're combing through more than 50,000 tips related to last week's violence. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
Back here in the 4 states, officials at the capitals in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri say they're taking note of that FBI warning. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on what they're doing and how officials at the Joplin Police Department make sure things stay safe locally.
Back in June, some businesses in downtown Joplin boarded up their windows after rumors circulated on social media that Antifa was planning a protest in the city.
We're fortunate that, that was just a rumor. Nobody ended up showing up in town.
But the department was still prepared, just in case. Captain Will Davis with JPD says they're continuously monitoring for any local threats.
We work and collaborate with other partners in the industry, and that's surrounding agencies, other federal agencies, and we're all making sure that we're on the same page.
We reached out to officials regarding security at the Capitol buildings in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Missouri provided this statement saying, quote, "While the Missouri Department of Public Safety's policy is not to discuss specific details of security plans or operations, they include long-term advanced planning, training, exercises, and close coordination between state government and our local federal partners. Also key is sharing regional and national homeland security and intelligence information in real time. Security operations and staffing are adapted based on this information and other sources." Kansas officials told us, quote, "Our office is aware of the heightened risks being reported, and we are taking all threats seriously." In Oklahoma, the Department of Public Safety sent us this response saying, quote, "We are working with the governor's office as well as House and Senate leadership regarding the safety and security of the public, state employees, elected officials, and government facilities. Anytime there is a large planned event at the Capitol, we have extra personnel on hand for security." Back in Joplin, while there's been no indications of any planned events in the city, they are ready should the need arise.
We have our officers trained to respond adequately to these events if they were to occur.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Davis wants to emphasize at this time there are no indications of any planned protests within the city of Joplin. Doug Heddy joining us now with our first look at the forecast. Some sunshine today, still chilly though.
Yeah, but at least we are going in the right direction. Warmer today than what we did see over the past couple days. Cold start, 29.50 for a high. Average high is 44 for this time of the year. Clear skies, nothing going on. We're going to stay clear tonight. Really, the entire Central Plains, pretty much clear skies. It is kind of cold. We're sitting upper 30s to near 40 degrees, and eventually we'll drop back upper 20s a little bit later on tonight. You can see as we go through the overnight hours, we get into lower 30s, eventually upper 20s, and then we quickly warm up as we work into the daytime hours tomorrow. 35 at 9:53 by noon, and even warmer tomorrow. We push 60 during the afternoon. So, of course, we're going to look at more changes down the road here in just a bit.
Doug, thank you. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt announced changes to the state's quarantine guidelines for students. Now, under the new guidelines, students who were a close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19 don't have to quarantine from school for 2 weeks if they follow proper mask and social distancing standards. These new rules do not apply if exposure happens during after-school activities like sports. Freeman and Mercy hospitals currently have a combined total of more than 100 COVID-19 patients. Freeman has 55 patients, 6 more than last report. 4 of Freeman's patients are in the OSHO and 16 Freeman patients are in intensive care. Mercy Hospital currently has 56 COVID patients. That's 2 more than last report and 16 more than just a couple of weeks ago. As the coronavirus surge grinds on, the daily average of new cases is still well over 200,000. But states are making a big push to step up those vaccination efforts. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more from Atlanta.
As the coronavirus outbreak continues to spread quickly, the vaccination effort is ramping up. The Trump administration announcing Tuesday they're releasing all available doses after holding several million in reserve. They say they now have enough to cover both the first and second shots while also expanding access, with some federal health officials saying the CDC guidelines were causing governors to slow the vaccine rollout.
We're going to have clear guidance from the CDC to governors that they should vaccinate people 65 and above and anyone below 64 who has a chronic medical condition.
But it won't be easy. It will take time to ship all those doses to the states. And while some governors are setting up mega centers for vaccination, others are working with existing healthcare providers as they beef up their distribution capabilities.
We will work to support high-performing healthcare providers that exceed their targets for vaccine distribution. If you're doing a good job getting shots in arms, we will prioritize you.
Meanwhile, the CDC is reporting a massive reduction in seasonal flu cases, down from 65,000 a year ago to just over 1,000. Some doctors say masks and social distancing are keeping the flu numbers low, but it's a different story with COVID-19.
This is flu season supposedly right now, and we're only seeing 1,000 cases. Dramatic. That may mean that some of the measures we're doing with distancing and masking is working, but COVID is much more contagious.
More than 1 million Americans got their first COVID vaccine shot on Monday. Officials say they'd like to see that number as high as 3 million. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another 4-state hero. Bob Selby served in this Army from 1951 to 52. Native of Liberal, Missouri, Selby was stationed in Germany. We are proud to thank Bob Selby. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later in sports, how being selected to the Kansas Shrine Bowl has capped off a special season for a Parsons High School senior.
14.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Tuesday for us today. Plenty of sunshine across the region and temperatures warmer than what we have seen over the past couple days, as most of us warned right around 50 to 52 during the afternoon hours. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But we are starting to warm back up. Average high is 44. Today was 50. We're going to tack on about 10 more for us tomorrow as we press 60 degrees during the afternoon. So Wednesday looks fantastic. Zooming in right now, currently 38, so it's cold. South winds at about 5 to 10. Those southerly winds will keep our temperatures up just a little bit for us tonight. 37 in Carthage still. 40 in Neosho, Pittsburgh 39, Miami is sitting at 34 degrees, and you can see most of us mid to upper 30s to near 40 degrees, and it looks like as we work through the rest of the evening hours, eventually we're going to drop back to about 29 to 30 degrees for an overnight low. Clear skies, not much is going on here. In fact, the entire Central Plains really look pretty good. You have to travel south or north before you find any clouds. Let's go all the way up into Canada. Here's our jet stream. Southern Canada, right through the Great Lakes. And because it's so far north, all the Arctic air is just kind of bottled up into parts of Canada. We really haven't had a true Arctic blast yet this winter, even though we've had 4.5 inches of snow. We've done that with no Arctic air. Back in the lower 48, one little weak system spinning right around Dallas. It's going to slide to our south, no big deal. Our next storm system sitting in the Pacific Northwest. So let's go through time for us tonight. Upper 20s to near 30. Few clouds are going to roll in tomorrow, but really a pretty good day. Most of us should warm near 60. Here's your forecast. 29 to start, 53 by noon. High temp right around 59 during the afternoon. Clouds increase tomorrow night as a cold front slides in. With this front, we're going to get some clouds. We may get a random shower or two as we head into Thursday morning, and then it slides right on by. But it will cool us down a bit as we head into Thursday, also on Friday. So we have this system, Thursday and Friday. It'll bring down a little bit cool air, but then it will pass right off toward the east. We may get a few snow showers on Friday on the backside. It pulls east. Here comes another system by Sunday. Not much moisture to work with. So we're going to get some clouds, and we'll stay kind of cool. Another system on Tuesday. Again, doesn't have much in the way of moisture to work with, so it just kind of pushes on by. We don't really get a system with a lot of moisture until late next week, and then that's when it will kind of get the ball rolling for a couple weeks, and we'll get a little bit more active. So as we move into the next few weeks, if you have a blue day, it's a cold or cool. The days in yellow are kind of mild days, but all next week is pretty cool. We have that system on Thursday, and then on the 26th, 7th, and 8th, that's a pretty decent shot that we could get a winter event across the region. 59 for us tomorrow, 49 on Thursday, cooler Friday, only 38. We do dry out and look pretty good into the weekend, just staying kind of cool, high temps near 40.
Yeah, going to definitely enjoy tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Doug Katie, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you. Coming up, more concerns of censorship.
President Trump speaks out against tech giants like Facebook and Twitter. I'm Ray Bogan in Washington with a look at what he had to say 4 days after being banned, coming up. Join us.
In his first public remarks in nearly a week, President Trump defended his pre-riot speech while blasting what he called big tech companies that have since removed his platforms in the name of public safety. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan is in D.C. with the latest on what the president had to say offline.
Free speech is under assault like never before.
President Trump hasn't been able to tweet in 4 days. Now he's speaking publicly against tech giants like Twitter and Facebook.
I think big tech has made a terrible mistake and very, very bad for our country.
The real Donald Trump Twitter account was permanently suspended Friday for what the company calls, quote, the risk of further incitement of violence. The social media company suspended more than 70,000 accounts they say are associated with a far-right conspiracy theory known as QAnon. Facebook and Instagram also banned the president indefinitely. Tech companies say it's in the interest of safety. Others call it censorship.
In my opinion, they're making it trying to create a single-party system, and that's wrong.
One expert says First Amendment privileges don't apply.
These are companies that have their own ability to enforce their standards and their policies.
An entire platform called Parler, sometimes referred to as the conservative Twitter, is suing Amazon for cutting off their web hosting services. They claim Amazon is trying to help Twitter by reducing competition, and that they hold a double standard since Hang Mike Pence was allowed to trend on Twitter. Amazon responded in a statement, quote, It is clear that there is significant content on Parler that encourages and incites violence against others, and that Parler is unable or unwilling to promptly identify and remove this content. After the president's Twitter account was suspended, the company's stock dropped more than 10%. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Just ahead, the widespread effects of wildfires.
Pollution problems. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at how wildfire smoke has contributed to the nation's pollution levels. That's straight ahead.
On Fox. Wildfires have fueled much of the nation's pollution problems. That's according to a new study released by 2 universities in California. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez tells us about their findings and the potential health implications.
Pollution from wildfire smoke may be worse than previously thought. According to a new study from Stanford University and the University of California, San Diego, wildfires have produced up to 25% of small particle pollution in recent years across the country and up to half in some western states.
The problem with these particulate matter is that they are well adept to getting into the deeper parts of the lung and cause a certain degree of inflammation.
Researchers looked at satellite images and air quality data to determine how much pollution was attributable to wildfire smoke from 2016 to 2018, compared with 2006 to 2008. They found even as other sources of pollution decreased, the amount from wildfires increased dramatically, fueled mostly by a warming climate. Evidence of this change was seen throughout last year's record-breaking wildfire season. As deadly fires raged across California, Oregon, and Washington, major cities were covered with an orange-tinted fog, prompting air quality alerts. One analysis found about 1 in 7 Americans experienced at least one day of unhealthy air conditions during 2020.
My child's more prone to asthma, so I have to make sure that, he's okay. And yeah, no, I've never seen anything like it.
Much is unknown about the long-term health impacts of inhaling wildfire smoke, but some studies have found links to slowed lung function, increased risk of heart attacks, and development of asthma. Experts say more research is also needed to determine whether wildfire smoke has different health effects than other forms of pollution. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
So there's a new collar for your dog made with technology to tell you how your best friend is feeling. That's a stuffed animal. I promise we're talking about real dogs here. Gonna find out more about this collar for real dogs when we come back.
Getting a flu shot.
A new high-tech device could help you better understand your dog. The artificial intelligence-powered dog collar can detect 5 emotions in canines by monitoring their barks using voice recognition and recognizing the voice. The Pet Pools, PETPULS collar, created by a South Korean startup, can tell owners if their animals are happy, relaxed, anxious, angry, or sad through a smartphone application. Is this needed? I don't know. I don't want that for my 2 dogs because all they would tell me every night is, get off the bed. You're sleeping on the couch. It's my bed. They're like that. They think they rule the house. I love them though. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Local pharmacists have continued to find new ways to help patients in even more meaningful ways through the duration of the pandemic. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
House Democrats planning their next steps in their attempt to remove the president from office. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. Plus, whether or not the vice president plans to invoke the 25th Amendment, what he says coming up.
Now, it's National Pharmacist Day, so we decided to talk to a few local pharmacists about the challenges they faced and the changes they've seen during the course of this pandemic. KOAM's Zach Dodge has a story.
Over the last several months, locally owned pharmacies like Stone's Corner Pharmacy have had to make quick adjustments.
We knocked out walls, enlarged our lobby, remodeled our second location as well.
During stay-at-home orders last spring, the pharmacy had to convert to drive-through only and ramped up delivery to make sure they could get medications to those that need them.
In the beginning, it was just kind of handle the basic things.
And since then, owner Chad Isaacs has noticed another change.
People are much more aware of their health They do ask more questions. They want to stay healthy in any way they can. People got flu shots this year who have never got a flu shot in their life.
What's a clinical trial and what are side effects, and how does a vaccine work?
Pharmacist Amanda Wilson at Prater's Pharmacy says, as pharmacists, they do a lot more than just fill prescriptions. That's never been more true than now, when they've had several people come to them for healthcare advice when they're uncomfortable going to a hospital.
Whether it's just, I kind of need some extra counseling or advice on something that maybe before I would have went to the ER for, but now maybe there's more appropriate use of the ER. So a lot more questions about, do I need to be referred for this, or is it something that maybe we could figure out a treatment for over the counter?
And in the coming months, as both pharmacies gear up to administer coronavirus vaccines, they're going to be doing even more to help their communities.
If we could have gone without a pandemic, that would have been great, but it has made, I think, our job seem more important in the work that we do, more relevant.
In Jasper County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Both pharmacies are offering free flu shots without an appointment and free delivery as well. Pittsburgh City Council tonight voted to add the LGBTQ community to the non-discrimination ordinance of the City Code. The ordinance prohibits discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. The council also voted to create a non-discrimination commission. Congress is moving closer to impeaching President Trump after the riots last week over at the Capitol. President Trump is warning it's only going to create more anger and unrest. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has the latest from Washington.
Please rise for a moment of silence in honor and remembrance of the dedication and service of the fallen United States Capitol Police officers Brian D. Sicknick and Howard Liebengood.
In Congress, constant reminders of the deadly riots less than a week ago. Now lawmakers are trying to decide what, if any, punishment there should be for President Trump.
What this president incited last Wednesday is unforgivable and unconscionable.
There was a push from House members to call on Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove President Trump from office. But in a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Vice President Pence writing, quote, I do not believe that such a course of action is in the best interest of our nation or consistent with our Constitution, going on to say it would set a terrible precedent. This as the president's support is cracking among Republican leaders in Congress. Fox has told Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell believes President Trump committed impeachable offenses. And the House Republican Conference Chair, Representative Liz Cheney, says she will vote to impeach the president, writing, there has never been a greater betrayal by a president of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution. But President Trump says impeachment will only hurt the next administration and congressional Democrats.
It's causing tremendous anger and division and pain, far greater than most people will ever understand.
Many Republicans are uneasy about voting to impeach. Now a group has introduced a resolution to condemn and censure President Trump. We're told House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is open to the idea. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
A bit later, the awesome story of an Oklahoma police officer giving his stimulus money to a struggling restaurant.
Definitely turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. We have mostly sunny skies. Temperatures pretty good, up to about 50 for a high, which is about 5 to 6 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. 55, average high is 44, and we get even better as we head into Wednesday, as we should push 60 for a high, so about 10 degrees warmer for us tomorrow. Currently outside, we're sitting at 38. Humidity is not bad at 65%. Our south wind is going to keep our temperature up just a little bit tonight. We're still going to get cold, but not as cold as what we have seen. 39 in Pitt, 35 in Seneca, Carthage at 37 degrees, Chanute 35, Grove at 36. We have Monette at about 34 degrees, and we have pretty much clear skies across the region. We've had mostly sunny skies all day long. We're going to have pretty much clear skies for us tonight. Just a few random clouds up across the northern parts of the plains. But let's go north. Here's where all the Arctic areas. We've had 4.5 inches of snow this winter, but we have not had any Arctic air. If we got some Arctic air all these little systems would produce some snow, but our jet stream's way up in southern parts of Canada, right through the Great Lakes. So what this is doing is kind of bottling up all the Arctic air. It should let loose at some point later on this month, at least little chunks of it. So we'll keep our eyes on that, but no big storm systems over the next couple days. We've got a weak system near Dallas. It's not going to do anything for us. Our next storm system pulling into the Pacific Northwest, that will start to affect us by Thursday. Upper 20s for us tonight. We'll get a few mid and upper level clouds streaming in for us tomorrow, but 53 by noon, high temp, all the way up to 59. It is going to be a little windy. South winds at about 10 to 20, maybe gust upwards of about 25 miles per hour. By tomorrow morning, a cold front rolls in. With it, we'll get some clouds, maybe a random shower. Temperatures will cool down behind it, so Thursday, Friday won't be near as warm, but majority of the storm system doesn't do a whole bunch for us because it just doesn't have any moisture to work with, and that's what we see over the next several storm systems. We got this system on Thursday. On the backside on Friday, we may get a few snow showers. It passes east. Another system drops in on Sunday. Just doesn't have much in the way of moisture to work with. Another system on Tuesday. Again, not much in the way of moisture. Finally, we kind of flip the script a little bit late next week when we get a storm system that will have a little bit more moisture. So if we break down the next several weeks, all next week, so we're starting with next week, you can see the blue days. So these are all cool days. There's rain chances on Thursday, but we warm up next weekend on the 23rd and 24th, and then we have the potential for a much bigger storm system coming in two waves that could be wintry weather, the 26th, 27th, and 28th, and turning much colder. So that's where we're going to focus our attention really over the next couple weeks. It's in our cycle and the pattern. It's the same storm system that has produced winter weather, especially in central Oklahoma, over the past two cycles, once in October and then once in December. 59 tomorrow, 49 Thursday, and then only 38 on Friday. Kind of cool for the weekend.
Yeah, enjoy the nice weather while it lasts, right?
Absolutely.
How many times have we said that? Doug Heddy, thanks so much as always. Coming up in sports, Joplin boys looking to get revenge on Webb City after losing in the Kaminsky Classic. Plus, we'll hear from a Parsons High School senior who was selected to play in the Kansas Shrine Bowl.
The Joplin Eagles finished as the runner-up at the Kaminsky Classic on Saturday. They finished second to the Webb City Cardinals. Just 3 days later, the Eagles have a shot at revenge against those Cardinals. Webb City hosts Joplin tonight. The Cards 8-1 on a 7-game winning streak. And the Kai Howard, just a smooth player, man. He had 11 in the first half. Second quarter, all right. Good night tonight for him. Finished with a game-high 23. Eagles have their first lead. Under 10 seconds left to half, Dante Washington, nice steal there. Head to Dominic Simmons just before the buzzer. Eagles run to the locker room up 38-37. Third quarter, LT Atherton. Look at that spin in the finish. Other end, Luke Brummett got a big finish of his own. Joplin, though, 2-point lead going to the fourth. Now in the fourth, home team closes it out. Back to Howard. He goes for a team-high 16. It's tighter this time. Webb City, though, gets by Joplin again, 80-74. The Carl Junction Bulldogs are at home tonight for a super night against Carthage. On the girls' side, it's a rematch of two of the best in the area. These two met back in December with CJ winning by 1, 52-51. Bulldogs not playing around tonight. First quarter, Destiny Berge knocking down the three. Game high 33 for Berge. Then Jessa Hilton with the steal, lays it in. CJ, 20-0 run. Carthage finally answers. Kiana Yates with the fake, drops in the three ball. Tigers, though, still down 15. To the second, more from Berge and Hilton. Berge to Hilton. It's a three from the far corner. Bulldogs up 17. Then Hilton, it's like pretty much the same spot. CJ up 24 at the break. To the third quarter, Sophie Shannon, put back and the foul. Carthage trying to stay in it, but Jessa Hilton and sophomore Destiny Berge combined for 55 points tonight. CJ rolls 67-43.
It's it's kind of an up and down season for a young team like what we've got, and just understanding what it is to be part of our program, and you're going to get everybody's best game. We know that, and our young kids don't quite get that yet just because they haven't been in here long enough. You know, youth is promising, but at the same time, the quicker we can understand things within the program, the better we're going to be.
To the boys' side now, it's the COC League opener for the Tigers against Carl Junction. We'll pick it up in the first quarter with Justin Ray, top of the key here. Road team holds a 1-point advantage. CJ would respond though. Pass goes to Miles Durfelt, drops a 3. Dogs now up 2. Later in the quarter, dish goes out to Ray, another 3 from him. Tigers though, still down 2. To the second now, Sincere Williams with the steal. Takes it to the bucket for the layup. Bulldogs down 1 at half, but they're able to come back and make it a CJ sweep tonight. They beat Carthage 62-58. Parsons High School senior Tanner Barkus has been selected to play in the 2021 Kansas Shrine Bowl. We caught up with Barkus today to talk about what that selection means after a special season. Parsons wide receiver Tanner Barkus will have a chance to play one more game this summer.
I'm very glad for that because I really do love football, and I'm glad I'll get to play again in high school.
Barkus has been selected to play in the Kansas Shrine Bowl after posting 75 catches for more than 1,000 yards with 13 touchdowns in the fall.
It's about Tanner, and it's also about Tanner's teammates. I think it means a lot to them as well to be able to see their teammate play in this game.
It was just very exciting and pretty thrilling to know that I'd be doing it, and it was pretty heartwarming too, just being around my family, and then all of them told me how proud they were of me and stuff like that.
He's special. He's a special player. He's also a special kid. Tanner's kind of waited his turn here at Parsons, and we've had some great receivers. He kind of burst onto the scene early this year, and we just fed him the rock because he was making play after play, and just when a guy's doing that, you want to get him the ball as much as possible.
It was a special season for Barkus, not just for the numbers. He and the team dedicated the season to his grandfather and former Parsons coach Don Barkus, who passed away last summer.
That was a big part of my motivation in season. It was the biggest part, really.
Losing someone that means so much to not only Parsons High School, but the community of Parsons. And, it gave us extra motivation to go out there and fight for Don Barkus every single Friday night.
It just meant a lot. It really meant everything to me. I'm proud it was for him.
The Parsons senior is headed to school at KU after graduation, but he has not closed the door on playing in college if given the right opportunity.
I joke around with people and I say that, Tanner Barkus is almost too smart to play football. What coach wouldn't love a kid that has a 4.4 GPA, shows up on time to practice, 100% weight room attendance, works hard every single day. It's a coach's dream to have a kid like that on their team.
But for now, he's just focusing on his next game, the Shrine Bowl in June.
It's a great honor to be able to play for them, and that's really what it's all about when it comes down to it. Regardless of what happens during the game, it's about them. So it's one of the biggest honors I've had in my life.
3 other local players will play in the Kansas Shrine Bowl this summer. Coffeyville's Darrell Jones, Girard's D. Weidman, and Caleb Murillo from Columbus. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Getting a flu shot helps you.
An Oklahoma City police officer gave away his stimulus check to help a local struggling business. The wet business owner paid it forward. She was rewarded in a big way. Fox's Rebecca Pryor has the story.
What I was seeing when I came back was not how it was when I left.
For Edmond police officer Jeff Moorfield, spending the past 8 months in the Middle East as the captain of an artillery unit didn't scare him half as bad as returning home did.
When I came home, the exact same movie poster that I saw the movie of before I left, and when I came back, was still on the wall. So that is, in my opinion, that is not what we are.
Seeing the way COVID had caused his community to crumble, closed businesses all around, Jeff felt his calling to protect and serve needed to go beyond his badge.
I literally woke up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and just said, hey, this is what I want to do.
He's referring to this.
I would like to donate my stimulus. It's here in cash, and I want her to take it.
paying forward his $1,800 stimulus check to local restaurant owner and longtime friend Jennifer Webster.
I just started crying because it has been a struggle.
In a time she was starving for hope, Jeff served up plenty.
A year that was full of betrayal and garbage, it gave me something even more than the money. It gave me peace and that people are loyal and kind still.
And the best part is the giving didn't stop here. Far from it, actually. Jennifer's business desperately needed the money, but she also knew others needed it as well.
I knew that if I just hoarded it for myself, that's where it stops.
So she kept it going, giving it all away to 3 other local restaurants in need.
People, I think, in 2020 forgot to give because they were so busy worrying about myself, self-preservation. And I just knew in that instant that God did not want me to keep it, that I was to pay it forward. And He blessed me for doing that.
Blessed in a big way. It took less than a week for her good deed to make its way back to her. Another stimulus check donated, this one $2,400.
So I gave $1,800 away and got almost twice as much back. And the reality is I'm probably not going to keep all of that. I just don't know where it's going to go yet.
They're now hoping the domino effect of donations sparks throughout the community and what Jeff and Jennifer are calling JJ's Stimulus Challenge, calling on others to keep paying it forward because sometimes giving back is the greatest reward of them all.
If they need it, they need it. I got it. But if they don't need it, then try to go and provide hope to some other business, some other family, somebody else. It is a trying time right now, and that's what we're called to do.
If this gives them just a little bit of hope to go out and share and spread a light, we'd love it to catch like wildfire.
Paula Abdul right there, and Randy Jackson reunites. Some entertainment news coming your way. Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul have reunited. The former American Idol alums catch up to talk about their return to the network and being a guest on each other's shows. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the story.
I'm having a blast.
Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul are back in the foxhole together. The American Idol alums have returned to the singing competition's original network, with Abdul serving as a judge on The Masked Dancer and Jackson teaching viewers how to name that tune as the band leader for the reboot of the classic game show.
Listen, I love that Paula and I are back on Wednesday nights, which was the Idol night. And I can't believe we're both back on Fox at the same time on 2 different shows.
It's fantastic. I mean, we're both doing shows that are thoroughly fun and joyful and exciting. And it's like, you know, the 2 of us are back doing what we love to do.
The performer and choreographer admits the guesswork on The Masked Dancer can be challenging, but she believes Randy's attention to detail would make him a great judge.
Randy, that you would do great because you pay attention to all the little intricacies. And it's important, like you can't just breeze by it with these just broad guesses. You start really honing in on the clues, and I think you'd be great.
Randy says Paula's knowledge of music would make her a great contestant on his show.
Paula Abdul knows more music than anyone that I know. She would ace this game, I'm telling you. I remember on Idol, Simon and I would be sitting there with you in the judging panel, go like, yeah, I know that song. What song is that? You'd blurt out the title without even thinking.
The conversation between the iconic duo sparked a new idea for Jackson.
You know what we should do? Let's talk to Fox, Paula, and you and I should do a switch up where we guest on each other's shows.
All new episodes of The Masked Dancer and Name That Tune aired this Wednesday night only on Fox. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of pandas in China. Look at that. Playing in the snow. That's awesome. Hey, be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.